Namaskar. Today's topic is uniform boundedness and age per syllabus. This is for the students of MSc Maths 4th semester. And for this lecture, student must know the Banach spaces, continuous linear transformations, etc. So, in today's lecture, we are having two theorems. The first one is an important theorem known as uniform boundedness theorem. So its statement of the uniform boundedness theorem is like this one. Let B be a Banach space and N be a normed linear space, and if Ti is a non-empty set of continuous linear transformations from B into N with the property that the set Tix is a bounded subset of the N for each vector x in B, then the norm Ti, this set of norm of Ti is a bounded set of numbers, that is norm Ti is a bounded as a subset of the real number set R. So the proof is this way. For each positive integer n, we define there is sets an this type, such type of this that x belongs to B such that norm of the Tix is less than equal to n for all I. For all these operators such Ti which belongs to x belongs to B such that norm of the Tix is less than equal to n. Then it is easy that an is a closed subset of the B and as follows x belongs to an, this implies and it implies Tix is less than equal to n for all I. Therefore, this an is a closed subset of the B. And this implies and it implies Tix belongs to S closed set n for all I, where SCn denotes the closed sphere in n with center at the origin and radius is n. So this implies and it implies that x belongs to Ti inverse Scn for all I. And then this implies and it implies that x belongs to intersection of the I Ti inverse Scn. So that we obtain that An is the intersection of the all such sets Ti inverse Scn, which is closed, being an arbitrary intersection of closed set. So we have obtained that this An set defined as above is a closed set. Now we shall prove that B equal to union of the such sets An and varying from 1 to infinity An, and for if it is possible that B is not equal, then suppose that B is not equal to union and if varying from 1 to infinity An, then we can find there exists x belonging to B such that x does not belongs to An for any n. And this implies that norm of the Tix is greater than n for all I, and this implies the set Tix is not bounded, which contradicts the hypothesis as we have assumed that Tix is bounded. Therefore, our assumption that B is not equal to union of the n equal to 1 to infinity is wrong. Therefore, B is equal to union n varying from 1 to infinity an. So then by the bare category theorem, because B is a Banach space and it is of the second category, so we apply here the bare category theorem. There, there exists an in which tells us that there exists an integer n0 such that a n0 bar is a non-empty integer. Here an0 bar is a closed set as a non-empty integer. So this implies that an0 is non-empty integer because a and 0 is closed, therefore a and 0 equal to a and 0 bar. So therefore there exists an element x0 such that x0 belongs to a and 0 O. Here a and 0 O denotes the interior of the a and 0. So this implies there exists a closed sphere SR0 X0 which is contained in AN0, and since AN0 is closed set. So now we try to prove that this norm Ti is bounded. Now we try to prove that norm of the Ti is bounded set. So for this we choose Z equal to R0Y where norm of the Y is less than equal to 1. We are choosing Z equal to R0Y and where norm of the Y is less than 1, less than equal to 1. Then we have norm of the TIY equal to norm of the TI Z upon R0 because Z equal to R0Y. Then this will become, we will take by the property of the Ti and norm that 1 by R0 outside and then we obtain this as 1 by R0 Tiz. This is equal to 1 by R0 norm of the Tiz plus x0 minus x0. We here add and subtract x0 and then by the linearity of this linear transformation Ti, we obtain this as norm of the Tiz plus x0 minus Tix0. Then now again applying the property of the norm, we will obtain this as a less and equal to 1 by R0. We open the norm on both the elements that norm Ti Z plus x0 plus norm Ti x0 and then as because these two elements belongs to a and 0 therefore we can write this as 1 by r0 and 0 plus n0 equal to 2n0 upon r0 because z plus x0 and x0 belongs to a and 0. So we can prove this as follows for the element belongs to a and 0 because z plus x0 minus x0 equal to norm z and norm z equal to norm r0y as our previous selection that z is equal to r0y and this is equal to r0 norm y is less than equal to r0 because norm of the y is less than equal to 1. We have chosen the element y in such a way that norm of the y is less than equal to 1. Therefore, we obtain that z plus x0 belongs to SR0 x0 and this is a subset of the AN0. Also, x0 belongs to SR0 x0 and which is a subset of the AN0 obvious. Therefore, we are having both the elements z plus x0 and x0 belongs to an0 and therefore these norms are less than equal to n0 by r0. So in this way, we obtained that norm of the TIY is less than equal to 2n0 upon r0 if norm of the y is less than equal to 1. Therefore, norm of the Ti equal to supremum of the norm of the Ti such that norm y is less than equal to 1, less than equal to norm 2 and 0 upon R0 for all I. So we obtained the value of the norm Ti which is equal to supremum norm of the Tiy such that norm y less than 1. This is less than equal to 2 and 0 upon R0 for all I. Therefore, norm of the Ti, this set which will contain the norms of the linear transformation Ti is a bounded set of real numbers and the proof of the theorem is complete. This theorem is also known as Banach-Steinhaus theorem and has several significant applications to analysis. So next we are having the theorem number 2. The statement of theorem number 2 is this one. A non-empty subset X of a normed linear space N is bounded if and only if, yes sorry, this if will not, if and only if Fx is bounded set of numbers for each f belonging to n star. For that, a non-empty subset X of a normed linear space N is bounded if and only if Fx is a bounded subset of numbers for each f in n star. Hence, here n star is a conjugate space of the n. So, first we consider implies part, and for this let X be a bounded subset of the n. Then we have to prove that Fx is a bounded set of numbers. So as X is bounded subset of the n, therefore the norm of the elements of the X is less than equal to k for some real number k, and then we denote this by the equation number 1. So then there exists f belongs to n star. Next, f belongs to n star. Therefore, f is continuous mapping. So this implies that f is bounded. As each continuous linear transformation is bounded, therefore f is bounded. Therefore, there exists a real number k dash greater than 0 such that a modulus of the fx is less than equal to k dash norm x for all x belongings to n, and then using the equation 1 we are having, this implies that modulus fx is less than equal to k dash k by equation 1. Therefore, we obtained that fx is a bounded set of numbers for each f belonging to n star. So this is the one part of the theorem. Its converse part, for the converse part, we let fx be a bounded set of numbers for each f belonging to n star. Then we have to show that x is a bounded set. So for this, we take x equal to xi and now use the natural embedding. Earlier we have proved an natural embedding of the n. So we use this here, that now using the natural embedding, that xi will lead us to fxi, a functional in n double star from x to corresponding subset fxi of n double star. So fx is defined by fxf equal to fx as by the natural embedding theorem. Hence our assumption that fx equal to fxi is bounded for each f is equivalent to the assumption that fxif is bounded, because the value of this fxi is fxif is bounded set for each f belonging to n star, and since the n star it is complete, so it follows from the uniform boundedness theorem that fxi is a bounded subset of the n double star. So this implies that norm of the fxi is a bounded set of the numbers, and therefore as fxi is lead us to norm of the xi. As this fxi and xi are equivalent elements, therefore we get from this that norm of the xi is a bounded set of numbers, and therefore that is x equal to xi is a bounded subset of the n. Since norm of the fxi equal to norm of the xi. So in this way we obtain the its proof, and which completes the proof of this second theorem. So in today's lecture we have proved two theorems. The first one is about the uniform boundedness of the norm of the linear transformation, and second theorem is about the property of the bounded set and its boundedness of the fx set. So for more detail, students can refer to any textbook of functional analysis. I am Dr. R.P. Somani, Associate Professor in Mathematics. Thank you.